you ever speak to me like that again, you better be wearing a cup.
Baby steps.
One break, I'm in
Okay, friends, let's everybody take your positions, please. Here we go. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, rolling. Dave!
And
Dave!
Unchained.
welcome to Dave and Dave Unchained, a Van Halen podcast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Dave.
And we are at episode number 33. We are entering the fall, Dave. We're in September of 2018. And we have a great episode this time out. This is a special one because we bring back one of our famous guests, Noel Monk, the former manager of Van Halen from 1978 to 1985. Noel last time was with us 6 months ago to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Van Halen 1. Now, 6 months prior to that, we were celebrating the release of his book. However, now Noel is doing something even crazier. Noel is doing a Van Halen auction, which is unbelievable. He has hundreds, and I mean hundreds, probably over 1,000, actually, if you add up everything, items of all kinds of Van Halen memorabilia. And this is all insider stuff. This is like all kinds of things like signed Christmas cards to Ed and Val's wedding invitation to David Lee Roth's passport from 1970. He's got the invitation to Al's bachelor party from 1983, test run prototype T-shirts that haven't been released, all kinds of wild stuff, radio interviews from South America from 1979, wild stuff. This is really, really cool, and Dave and I got to speak to Noel directly about the auction, why he did it, how he went about it, and everything involved with that. And we're also going to speak to the gentleman who runs Backstage Auctions, Jacques van Gool. We're going to be speaking to him about how the auction works and what the pricing is. And this auction is interesting because it's affordable. There's stuff that fans can actually buy. They're not like $6,000 and $20,000. There's things you could actually buy that's affordable and able to be obtained. Really rare stuff. Everything from backstage passes to tour jackets that were only distributed to the inside management. Really wild, crazy stuff, right, Dave?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you just can't believe it's just like pages upon pages of stuff, and your jaw drops at like every page, and you're like, he saved that? He had that?
Yeah.
They made that? Yeah. I mean, you just like again and again.
Yeah.
Even if you're not even planning on bidding on anything, you still have to just check out what's there.
Right.
It's as a Van Halen fan, you will never see this kind of stuff again.
No, absolutely. You know what it's like? It's almost like looking at a museum exhibit at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's a little bit like that. In fact, you could actually, to be honest with you, Dave, they could have taken all of Noel's stuff and made an exhibit at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because, number one, Van Halen's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This thing could be just like one of their exhibits. It really could. When you go there, and if you've ever been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they have exhibits that rotate. They have one for Nirvana, or they have one for Bruce Springsteen or John Mellencamp. Things that have handwritten lyrics, and this is his jacket, and all kinds of wild stuff. But
right, I saw the one for the Stones when they had it.
Right, exactly. And they have just great stuff. I saw the Bruce Springsteen one. There's some really, really amazing stuff there. This is of that level of quality. He's got paperwork. Noel has journals of all the tour itineraries from every tour that he did with him, and he did all the tours with Roth, which is just incredible. So we're going to talk to both those guys, and that is fantastic, and that's going to be a great episode. But before we do that, we're getting into Van Halen news. Well, there's rumblings going on within the Van Halen community. We don't have any word from the band, but we're going to get into it. But just to start off, we're going to talk a little bit about the man we all know as Sammy Hagar, the Red Rocker. This gentleman's always making news. God, we always have something to report on from Sam, right, Dave? It's incredible. So Sammy did an interview with the Ultimate Classic Rock Nights radio show with Uncle Joe Benson. He was discussing the reaction Warner Brothers had when Van Halen Mach 2, which was Van Hagar with Sammy Hagar at the head, unveiled its new music with Sam. So this is figure 1985 or so, early 86, when they were handing in the music to Warner Brothers for them to hear for the first time what Van Halen sounded like with Sam. And this is a quote from Hagar. He says, "The powers that be, Ted Templeman, Lenny Waronker, and Mo Aston, three of the greatest record guys ever in history, came walking into the room and we played them Why Can't This Be Love?" Mo Aston put his finger in the air and says, "I can smell money." And he was right. 5150 went on to sell 6 million copies in the U.S. And Sammy said, "We got their blessings with that song, and that's really, really cool. I think that was the song that did it for us. That was the first song the world heard from Van Hagar, and it was different from the old stuff, but still sounded like Van Halen. That's what's so cool about that song." And surprisingly, I found the craziest thing of that story is that Ted Templeman was involved because he was working with Dave at that point on Dave's album. So it's interesting because Ted obviously was an executive at Warner Brothers in addition to being a producer. So he was involved in the backstage stuff on Van Halen. So I didn't even know about that. That was interesting. And the song is, obviously Why Can't This Be Love is a radio-friendly, ear-friendly song. It's very commercial, has a lot of appeal. But I disagree with Sam. I don't think it sounded like Van Halen all that much. Notice how he noted the band and he referred to the band as Van Hagar, and it's funny how he keeps doing that because he wants to solidify that Van Halen era, which is very much gone in the public's eye. Dave? You really don't hear about Sam with Van Halen much, and the band doesn't touch that catalog. And what do you make of this story?
It bothers him greatly.
Yeah.
It bothers him greatly. I was surprised too.
Yeah.
About Ted. Although I guess it makes sense. He was an executive at the time, so
sure.
That was surprising. But the rest of the story I've heard before. The whole Mo Austin I smell a hit.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the whole Mo Austin I smell a hit thing. I mean, I think he's been telling that story for years.
Okay.
Because that definitely rang a bell.
Excellent. Okay. So now also, believe it or not, we heard from Eddie Van Halen. Out of his slumber, Eddie sends out an Instagram on Labor Day, September 3rd. It's sort of a strange message. It's a picture of Ed dressed in all white, and he's got dark hair, so obviously he's been hitting the Just for Men box of hair coloring. He's barefoot on the beach with his head in his hands, and the tagline reads, "Damn, where did I leave my car keys? Hashtag Labor Day, hashtag Labor Day weekend, hashtag music, hashtag Van Halen, hashtag guitar player, hashtag beach, hashtag ocean, hashtag sun, hashtag sky." What the fuck is this, Dave? I have no idea. I mean, this looks like Janie is bored. It seems like Janie is written all over this. There's no update about the band. It's just sort of nonsense.
That's funny, because actually I've been hearing that she just recently started updating her, what's the name of her company? Is it High Profile Media?
Yeah.
So apparently she's been updating the Facebook site
in
the past few days. I mean, there's nothing Van Halen there, apparently, or very little, or like nothing new. This is all like secondhand information I've been reading about. But yeah, it's like, hey, where did I put my keys? I mean, that picture is meme ready, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, I like looked at it, I was like, hey, wait a minute, I'm in a band,
I know. Right, exactly.
It's funny he puts down, hashtag music and hashtag Van Halen when he's not really doing much with either of those things right now.
I like the hashtag that you sent me when I sent you the photo. You said that Ed was saying in his head, David Lee who? Right. That was funny. And more nonsense is Cody Van Halen, Eddie's little Pomeranian there. He was on Facebook with a cute little photo of him saying, "Looking forward to a weekend filled with long walks, sleeping in, and many puppy snacks. Have a good one." With his picture. So it appears the Van Halens are very chill and relaxed and low-key at this time. Doesn't seem to be there's much of activity of anybody over there, especially Mr. Wolf. I mean, not that he lives with Eddie and Jamie, because he doesn't. But on Wolfie Watch, We have not heard a word from Wolf on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook about his album at this recording. We have heard nothing as to what's going on. And Dave, what I think is we can rule out the fact that he is not just recording it and putting it up on iTunes himself. Because if that was the case, he probably would have done it already. So he must be shopping for a deal or planning some sort of like grand unveiling of it.
Right, yeah. I'm hopeful that, he's doing all the work behind the scenes he has to get this thing ready and get it out.
Right, absolutely. Now, another big surprise is David Lee Roth came out of hiding, and he was performing at the Brent Shapiro Foundation's Summer Spectacular on September 7th. He did this last year, and he came out and did a whole mini set of songs. He did a little bit different set than last year. He did a little more rockin' stuff. He did Panama, You Really Got Me, and California Girls, and Jump. The shocking part of the whole thing, well, Dave was performing like a big band, and he had like girl background singers, and he's dressed in a three-piece suit, and he's doing sort of like the glam, almost like the Vegas Dave a little bit, but maybe a little more refined. But the big reveal was Dave's shocking hairdo. He had a buzz cut, okay, like military-style buzz cut, and it was all white. Like really white and heavily receding. So it really made him look much older than the last time we saw him, which was in 2015. When or even last year from his last appearance at the Shapiro Foundation. What did you make of that, Dave?
I gotta tell you, when I first saw the pictures, it was him in front of like a white screen. Mm-hmm. And those pictures did not do his new hairstyle any justice. And he looked horrible in those pictures, I thought. But then I saw other pictures of him performing. Right. And I was like, oh, you know what? He doesn't look half bad, or not nearly half as bad as he did in those other pictures. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I don't think the white screen did him any favors. Yeah. But I was surprised to see him with the short hairdo. Yeah. A lot of mixed reactions on that. Yeah. A lot of people had strong opinions on how he was singing at that performance. Okay. Well, let's just say there weren't a lot of people who had a lot of nice things to say.
Oh, boy.
I didn't think he was that bad.
Right.
And, the other thing is I'm watching it from somebody filming it on a cell phone.
Right.
So it's kind of like, how good is it going to be? But I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'm just so used to Dave. Yeah. It doesn't faze me anymore he, it doesn't. I mean, I thought for what it was, it was good. He was entertaining. Yeah. I thought he looked great. Yeah. I loved the black suit with the purple tie.
Oh, yeah. I
thought it was good.
Very snappy. And also, I think those pictures of him on stage, also, he's very, let's be honest, Dave's in sick shape, like amazing shape. So, for a man of his age, in his early 60s, he's spry, very, very spry, and he's well built, and he fills out a suit nice. He's very active. Okay, so he's healthy, physically healthy. Dave always has been, takes care of himself, and he looks great that way. So I think that action on stage gives him a lot more life. And obviously, look, a hair situation, I have one myself, believe me, I'm bald. It's just an aesthetic thing, but, the liveliness of the person and the spirit of the person is key, and Dave certainly has plenty of that. Interesting enough is I really think Dave loves this style of performing. I think he loves the big band, the girls behind him, wearing the suit, looking snappy, telling stories, making jokes, and playing his old hits. Like, I think he likes this. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up doing some Vegas residency doing this. I could see him out there, and for example, he did here Panama, and he did You Really Got Me, and he did California Girls, and he did Jump. And I don't know if he did more than that, but that's the only songs I know that he did. Now, I was thinking about, say he did something like this, what would he do? And I was thinking of his repertoire. Well, he could throw certainly Pretty Woman in there. He could throw in Just a Gigolo, Ice Cream Man, Dance the Night Away, Just Like Paradise, That's Life, Nightlife, I'm Easy, Easy Street, Dancing in the Street. He could even rework Hot for Teacher to make it a little more of a shuffle. I could see this guy doing this. What about you?